KayFabe Smark Podcast.
Welcome to the KayFabe Smark Podcast with Eric Todd and Brian Rompa, your smart mark source for news and opinions on the world of professional wrestling.
What up? This is the KayFabe Smark Podcast. My name is Brian. This is episode 92. We're sitting with you here on a Friday night, March 4th, 2022. We pushed this off one day due to scheduling conflicts. But here we are, ready to go. Going to talk about AEW, their Road to Revolution pay-per-view. Well, Revolution is the pay-per-view. We are on the road to Revolution. That is, Sunday is the pay-per-view. We're going to talk about all that, tear it all apart. Make sure you guys follow us on all the social media outlets right here on YouTube. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Join us in the chat when we go live. Look it up on Instagram, the KayFabe Smark, TikTok, Facebook, all of the fun stuff that goes on with that. But before we get into the big meat and potatoes, let's check in with Mr. Eric Todd. Eric, what is happening in your world?
What up, world? you know, same old, just chilling here. Not too much went on this week, Brian. I took my AirPod Pros. Everybody out there knows those are supposed to be top line headphones right now. I unfortunately had a pair from pre-November 2020. And I've had to take them in and get them replaced twice. I took them into Best Buy to get replaced a third time. And after 45 minutes of wasting my time, they just told me, yeah, Apple said they're not replacing them anymore. So, lucky me, I got to spend $200 on another pair of AirPods. And then to ease my pain from that, Brian, this is how you know I'm 40. I treated myself to a new Ninja Foodie air fryer grill.
Oh,
and that boy
shit.
is a beast.
I'm an air fryer from way back. I would have been air frying food since before that shit was cool, before the pandemic, son. I've been an air frying junkie. I would probably get rid of my microwave and just straight air fry everything. But my kids like the microwave every now and then.
Well, this bad boy Costco is running a deal on it, right? So I got $40 off. It's got a thermometer that you stick in your steak, and once that steak hits that perfect temperature, it says, grab your food, idiot.
Oh, shit. You got that, like, chef one. Like,
Oh,
mine,
yeah.
you still got to take it out and check it and flip it and stuff. But mine's like, damn, yours is fancy. I want one like yours.
Yeah, get that foodie. Ninja. Send me a check.
Send me a check. Sponsorships. This is not a paid sponsorship. All right. Well, this is the KayFabe Smark Podcast, people. This is episode 92. Like I had stated there when we opened up the show, we're going to talk about AEW, the Road to Revolution, our predictions for the Revolution pay-per-view, all of the fun stuff. But before we get into that, usually Mr. Eric Todd has some news. Eric, you got news?
I do got some news, Brian, some big news. Some spoiler alert news if your head's been in a sand all week. But first, you got to hit that ticker before we get into it.
This is the KayFabe Smark News. From the dirt sheets to your ears. All right, it is the news time.
All right. So, like I said, unless your head's been in the sand, you heard the major announcement from Tony Khan on Wednesday night was that Tony Khan exclusively has acquired ROH Ring of Honor. Company's been around 20 years, been passed around a little bit, shut its doors late last year, and was just kind of in limbo for a while. But now we know that Mr. Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and my big theory, well, not just mine, but I came up with this before seeing it other places, is that this is going to be somebody's pet project. Somebody who wanted a lot of creative control. Somebody who ran and dominated through Ring of Honor through the years. somebody who likes to build and grow young talent, somebody by the name of Cody Rhodes. That's my theory, my guess. This is going to be the man. That's why he's not under contract with AEW anymore. He's in business with AEW.
We shall see, Brian. One of my later stories might contradict your theory, though, so stay tuned, folks.
Right. Stay tuned, Brian. I will stay tuned for the news.
But Fightful Select reported that Sinclair Broadcasting was looking for $30 million for 50% ownership of the company. So it's being assumed, I think it's been confirmed that Tony Khan owns the whole damn thing. So we'd be led to believe he paid a pretty penny for that, certainly more than $30 million.
Yeah, my excitement is that Ring of Honor had their Honor Club, which was their streaming service. I was a subscriber for a little bit. Checked out their pay-per-views, a lot of the old past stuff, yada, 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 very similar to WWE Network, etc., and so on. So maybe AEW can link up with that, and we can have a little bit of a streaming service that we can access the old pay-per-views, access old Dynamites, and etc. as they build on their library, and now have the Ring of Honor library to go back and watch. So it's not just the the AEW library. So that's part of my excitement that could be involved in this whole big purchase.
Yeah, a lot of speculation going around regarding streaming of the Ring of Honor content and so forth. One of the rumors, it's been floating around for a while that Tony Khan's been talking to HBO. So possibly the Ring of Honor video library may be available on HBO Max sometime soon if Khan doesn't decide to go in the direction of just reviving the Ring of Honor streaming service.
Interesting. I would like to see them get the AEW involved in there too, so that way us non-cable watchers it's easier to get a hold of and have subscriptions and whatever else. But we shall see. We shall carry on.
All right, some interesting news from one of our favorite original divas here, Brian. It's always sunny in Keensburg, New Jersey.
Oh, boy.
And we are talking about none other than Tammy Lynn Sitch.
It's always sunny days.
Some sunny days back in February 24th to be exact. Tammy Lynn Sitch was arrested, and she is being charged with the following: operating under the influence of liquor or drugs, driving after driver's license registration was suspended, careless driving, likely to endanger person or property, reckless driving, failure to wear a seatbelt, driving without a license, failure to have possession of a driver's license, failure to have possession of a driver's registration, failure to possessing a driver's insurance card. I'm not done yet. Failure to install interlock/drive car with interlock. I don't even know what interlock is. And operating a motor vehicle during a license suspension, second violation on that one. So Tammy's court date is set for March 10th. And hopefully we'll see some more news on this one. Sounds like she's going to be in sing-song prison for a while there, peering out those iron bars.
Tammy Lynn been riding dirty since day one, huh? She got no insurance. She's got no driver's license while driving on a suspended driver's license while not providing a driver's license. Like, wow. God dang. Yeah, she gets her life. She seems to be getting it in order. You hear these stories. You're like, okay, she's doing this. She's looking good. She's at autograph signings. She seems to be, and then, boom, hits it again. Like, she just got a rough go of things.
Yeah. I would say more bad luck for Tammy Lynn, but that's definitely a reap what you sow type situation right there.
Yeah. Just more of the same old from Mrs. Tammy Lynn Sitch.
Well, she ain't the only former WWE star to be getting arrested. We also got Mr. Brown Pride himself, Cain Velasquez, has been arrested for attempted murder, Brian.
I hate to laugh, but it was just the timing and wording of it. I mean, at least nobody was murdered. It was just an attempt.
He didn't even hit the right guy. So it sounds like he shoots gun as good as he wrestles. So apparently. So a young child was who's close to Cain was allegedly touched inappropriately or molested or something by this fella named Harry Goularte, who's 43. Harry's mom runs a daycare center, and Cain's close female relative was in that daycare center, and supposedly Harry touched her inappropriately. He was charged with some sort of charged with indecent sexual conduct or something of that matter, and was released from jail almost immediately on bond. So Cain took matters into his own hands, attempted to shoot the guy, accidentally hit his stepfather. That's Harry's stepfather, not Cain's. And that fella is set to survive, but still, just a whole clusterfuck in the Cain Velasquez world right now, Brian.
Yeah. Now, listen, don't go murdering people. But me or you, regular Joes, just regular Joe, we can't go, we don't have fists the size of Subway sandwiches. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have JJ gargantuan fists. Okay? So sure, a regular Joe grabs a gun because he's angry. This is Cain. Like, this guy is probably just a regular Joe. Like, literally, go knock him out. Like, you can fight. You are a deadly weapon. Even if you just went, like, I don't know. I get he was angry and he fucking with little kids, but can't go shooting people, and then don't shoot the wrong guy, because then you're going to jail regardless, right? At least go to jail for hitting the right dude. So if you would have went up and just swung on him and dotted his eye, you got the right guy, and you're still going to jail.
That it is funny how I didn't think of that, because I've heard this story on a couple radio shows this week, and the big debate was, well, this guy's been accused of touching multiple children, and it looks like he's going to get off at least pretty easy here. Can you really blame Cain Velasquez for that wasn't on purpose.
I just clicked it.
You can't blame Cain Velasquez for trying to shoot the guy, but you just opened up a whole new perspective. Why does Cain Velasquez have to shoot anybody? He can beat the living shit out of them.
Yeah, it's not like this was another Cain, Brock Lesnar and went up and he went to attack. Like, okay, no, you're attacked. Cain Velasquez is attacking some regular Joe that dropped his kid off at daycare. Like, go punch him in the head. Go crush his skull with your fist. That's just the way I look at it. But either way, don't go out and harm people.
So, yeah, of course, we'll report on that if any more news comes out of it. But, yeah, Tammy Lynn Sitch and Cain Velasquez probably both going to be serving some hard time down in Cobb County, Georgia.
They coming back with their orange jumpsuit like nails.
Yeah. All right, for this next little tidbit, Brian, a little feel-good segment here. I need you to put your right hand in the air, and I need you to pat yourself on the back.
Barry Horowitz style?
Because we will be seeing, well, we won't see it, but at least 30 or 35 fans will see Joey Janela taking on Barry Horowitz at the March 19th event called Wrestle Pros Rock and Roll Forever event.
Where's this at? Probably New Jersey.
I don't know. I didn't get that much into the story.
I just figured Joey Janela's not traveling far if he doesn't have to. He's just going to stick to his Jersey roots.
Yeah, so, if anyone out there, if you're interested in seeing Barry Horowitz take on Joey Janela, that's Brian's favorite wrestling star ever.
Which one?
Right behind.
Barry Horowitz?
Oh, Joey Janela. Yeah, go ahead and Google that. WrestlePros Rock and Roll Forever, March 19th.
WrestlePros Rock and Roll Forever. Joey Janela taking on Barry Horowitz. Evidently, the old story with Barry Horowitz was that he was OCD and had to be the first one at the building. Like, I've heard a lot of like the shoot interviews on YouTube, and people would just be like, if call was they had to be there at 3:00, like he was already there when people started showing up at 3:00. Like he had to be the first person there. That was evidently the story with Barry.
Yeah, my only story with Barry is I was looking for somebody for us to interview, and I was like, well, I know who would be a free interview, Barry Horowitz. And I went to his booking page or whatever, and that guy wanted like hundreds of dollars just to talk on the internet. So
we'll talk about him.
Barry Horowitz. WWE Hall of Famer Scott Hall has reportedly been put into the hospital. Seems like he suffered a bad fall that ended up giving him a broken hip. So that's a major injury right there, especially for a man of Scott Hall's size and age. So Jerry Jarrett actually reported on this and put out the following statement. Just got off the phone with my friend Scott Hall. He fell and broke his hip, and he's in the hospital. Prayers will help him recover. Scott Hall was scheduled to be in Dallas, Texas next month for a 2-night WrestleMania 38 event. And, of course, this might put a little damper on those plans, Brian Rampa. But, yeah, speedy recovery wishes to Scott Hall and his broken hip.
Yeah,
that's no joke.
Yeah, no joke at all. And besides the fact that, I mean, when you said his age, he's not really of quite elderly ages yet, but his body is at the age of elderly ages, right? He's probably put his body through some more hell than the normal fellas have, through what he did through professional wrestling. So, yeah, hopefully he can get back on his DDPY. He can get up there and do his yoga, and Paige will put him back together. So, Dally, as he likes to call him, we'll put Scott Hall back together again. The man's like Humpty Dumpty. Just hopefully this doesn't lead to any problems, as he may get pain pills for pain, and we know Scott has had issues, so hopefully things are well monitored.
Well, when Scott Hall gets out of the hospital, he just may have to call Dally, because Dally's got a new upcoming series called Change or Die.
Oh, well, there you go.
And
easy options.
So if Scott Hall wants to get on that, he'll have to share some screen time with Buff Bagwell, because Buff Bagwell recently postponed a couple dates that he had coming up because he decided it's time to move in with Diamond Dallas Page, get my shit together, and change or die, I guess.
It's time to change or die, and if you don't change, Dallas shoots you in the head on the last episode. That's what I heard. It's on the internet. I have a microphone, so it's true.
WWE getting involved in the Russia-Ukraine contract here. Everybody's trying to shut Russia out of everything, kind of isolate them from the rest of the world, make them feel the pain of being shut out here, and WWE has joined in on that. WWE has terminated its partnership with Russian broadcaster Match and shut down the WWE network in Russia effective immediately. This move eliminates access in Russia to any WWE programming, including the company's weekly Raw, SmackDown, and NXT shows, its on-demand library, and all of its PLEs, including WrestleMania 38. So if you're in Russia, you won't get to see Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's no good. Isn't it weird to think about, this is kind of off the topic of wrestling, but in the days when the internet was invented, and I say not invented, when the days of the Wild West of the internet, the late 90s, it was just the World Wide Web, and things went out on the world. And now you can choose where your things go out on the world, right? Before it was just like, here's the internet, and people can watch it. Now we're like, nope, Russia can't watch this on the internet. What the hell? It used to just be like
How the hell is that possible?
you just punched in the website and up it came. But now there's so much control of it. It's just a offshoot thing to think about there. Yeah, they are data starving Russia. And I think that's to get the people to turn on Putin, if you will.
Putin?
That's my guess, but that's real life. We're here to talk about professional wrestling, things that matter.
Of course. And our final story of the night, Brian, this is the one that might throw a wrench into your conspiracy theory about Ring of Honor here.
Okay.
WWE Creative is reportedly in the process of working on plans for Cody Rhodes to return to the company. Cody Rhodes has been a free agent for about almost a month here. An update from Wrestling Observer newsletter reveals the WWE creative team is actively working on return plans for Cody Rhodes, despite a few recent rumors that those plans have quote-unquote fizzled out. WWE expects Cody Rhodes to return soon, although there is reported to be no real time frame for when that may be, or with some speculating at WrestleMania, or maybe being held off until the Raw after WrestleMania, which is usually the biggest TV show of the year for WWE. And it is also believed that Brandy Rhodes will not be returning to WWE with Cody.
Yeah, we saw that coming. She's got no need. She has they have a child, but she is the mother, which is very important in those early formative years. So I didn't see her coming along for the ride in the WWE world, which is a lot more demanding than the AEW world was. I don't know. Mike, I just can't see if he doesn't bring in, if back to my theory, if Cody isn't brought in as the guy for Ring of Honor, even just to run it, not even to necessarily wrestle in it, then who can run it? Or are they just going to kill the brand? Like, to buy this thing you love and then kill it seems weird too. So I don't know. I just don't see what they would do with it. It's just interesting what they could do with it. Maybe they bring Steven Regal in. I guess there's a couple other options that they could do and bring in and put people over there. So, but my guess is still Cody Rhodes. I'm putting my money on that.
And I'm putting my money on the fact or the speculation that Cody will be in WWE and hopefully a Stardust.
I guess we'll see WrestleMania weekend because Ring of Honor is hosting a pay-per-view. It may be their last pay-per-view. It may be their welcome home goodbye pay-per-view, or they're gonna announce they're gonna tell us it's gonna be announced how it's gonna run and who's gonna run it and the likes of that. So we'll find out where Cody's gonna be. He'll either pop up at Ring of Honor, or he's gonna pop up on WrestleMania weekend. That's our options. So one of us will be proven right.
We shall see. But that's a wrap on the news this week, Brian. So slap that ticker and we'll go ahead and ease on out of it.
Ease on out of it. Tammy Lynn Sitch driving on suspended license, has no insurance. She's in Dutch. Cain Velasquez just shooting at sons of bitches, taking them out. And Cody Rhodes, is he going to Ring of Honor? Is he going to WWE? Does anybody give a shit? Who knows? All right, it's time to play our favorite game of
Let's Play Overrated or Underrated with Eric Todd.
That's right, overrated or underrated with Eric Todd. We are going to do overrated, underrated finishing moves. I know we've done a finishing move segment before, but we've never done any of these finishing moves. Devastating finishing moves, or at least they are sold to us in the WWE. Let's see what you got here. Overrated, underrated. Seth Rollins curb stomp.
I absolutely love Seth Rollins' curb stomp, which I think they just call it a stomp now, by the way, Brian.
Yes, I believe you're right.
But I absolutely love that move. It looks so devastating. It could be the fact that Seth Rollins has just perfected it, put a fine coat of polish on it. But yeah, that thing, maybe it's because I've seen American History X one too many times, but every time I see that move, I just feel the guy's brains being scrambled on that canvas there. So I would say that is an underrated move, especially when people get up from it.
The only thing I don't like about it is that somehow when Seth Rollins puts his foot on the back of your head and he pulls it up, he pulls his foot up with so much centrifugal force that your head goes with it. And then he smashes it back down. If they just took that little piece of the puzzle out, it would be just chef's kiss for me. But they just, that part, that oversell for me, kind of kills it. Okay, overrated, underrated. JBL's clothesline from hell.
I hate clothesline finishing moves. I hate the goddamn clothesline from hell. I hate the goddamn double cross ranch clothesline from Hangman Page, whatever the hell they call it.
Buckshot lariat.
I hate because everyone does a goddamn clothesline. So just because you put a little more momentum into it, supposedly that ends a match right there. Eat a dick. All clothesline finishers are overrated.
Eat a dick. Undertaker's old school top rope walk. Not necessarily a finisher, but just a highlight move from the Undertaker.
That's another thing. I never bit on that back when he was new school Undertaker and he did it. And now that you scream old school, it's dumb. It takes cooperation, and all he does is jump down and punch you in the arm. It's unnecessary movements for a very undevastating move. So when people go ape shit and go bananas over it, they're out of their minds because it's overrated.
I agree it's overrated. Even as a kid, I thought it was different for sure. Like, you'd never saw anybody do it, but you didn't understand the devastation that was being sold to you going, he held your hand and then walked across the ropes. It shows a little bit of, and then they were always like the balance and agility of a man his size. You have another man damn near his size holding him in the place. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my kids look super agile too when I hold their arms and they run around and they can run up and down a playground and they're like, wow, look at them. They're like gymnasts. You're like, no, I was a grown man. You're just holding them. So same thing. Like, it just didn't show the super agility to me. It didn't show super strength. It was like two men holding hands walking on ropes. Cool story.
Yeah, not exactly parkour. If you
Parkour. Overrated, underrated. Eddie Guerrero's Three Amigos.
This is one, Brian, where you're kind of walking a fine line because you can't shit on Eddie Guerrero because the guy was awesome. Definitely a Hall of Famer, definitely a legend. But it's just 3 suplexes, man. Like, and the only way you do 3 suplexes in a row is if somebody lets you. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave that one in the overrated category.
It is hard to shit on Eddie. It's hard to shit on the dead, but, sorry for you, Eddie. It was God dang, it was 3 suplexes. Here's one for you, overrated or underrated. Cesaro's swing.
Does this make Eric look like an asshole week on the KayFabe Smark podcast?
These were just like, I looked up a list of, quote, devastating like finishing moves and moves in the WWE history, and these were like the 5 that just caught my eye.
Again, like, what the hell? First of all, like, I guess if you're kayfabing it up, it disorients you, it makes you dizzy, it scrambles your brains a little bit, but essentially, this is another one. He's only going to do it if you let him. Let your legs go limp. And then he's just fucking spinning around in a circle like an asshole. It's overrated. It's stupid. I hate it.
I hated
and
this.
I love Cesaro.
That's why I definitely picked that one, because I'm like, he loves Cesaro, but he's going to have to shit on his move. I always hated any type of spinning moves. There was another one where I forget who did it now, but they'd put you on like the shoulders, right? Like torture rack style and like spin in circles. And you're like, don't you get dizzy too? Like, so isn't I've spin again, we'll go back to my kids example here. I spin my kids around in circles, and at the end of it I'm going, whoa, as they're going dizzy too. It's like one of us is gonna throw up. So this whole Cesaro spin you around thing and then put you in a sharpshooter, like, isn't he sitting there going, it did make him dizzy? But I never understood those moves. Same thing with the headbutt. I'm going to slam my head into yours and it hurts you more. No, I don't think that's how it works.
Just real quick, this is kind of off the subject, but on the subject of spinny moves here, the F5, Brian. So when I was going through my dirt sheets earlier, our good Southwest Detroit native, Zach Gowen, did an interview recently. And supposedly back in the day, probably still today, Vince McMahon would post no smoking signs everywhere. And apparently Zach Gowen got caught smoking a cigarette backstage. And his punishment was his match against Brock Lesnar in Detroit in front of his mom. And Brock Lesnar. I watched this match. I took time out of my day to watch this match. Brock Lesnar smacks him right in the head with the back of the chair, not the seat. He baseball swings and hits Zach Gowen, and then he proceeds to give him the two hardest F5s I've ever seen, just slamming Zach Gowen's hip into the ring post. The SmackDown, this ain't the plastic covered in LED ring posts they have now. This is the hard steel ring post, and just like spinny move F5s, Zach Gowen's skinny hips right into the ring post. And I watched that entire match with my jaw on the ground because there's no way that kid should have survived that.
All that from smoking a cigarette. See, kids, smoking will kill you. Either the smoking itself or Vince McMahon will sick Brock Lesnar on you. And then you made me think of a news thing here real quick before we get completely derailed. So Vince McMahon did that interview with our buddy Pat McAfee. And I haven't got a chance to listen to it all yet. I heard it's very good. But I also hear, pray tell, that this is leading into a program with Vince is going to wrestle Pat McAfee at WrestleMania.
Okay, so that makes sense. So as I was kind of scouring news stories here, I see one news story that says something on Vince McMahon's in-ring return. And then a couple things later, Vince McMahon offers Pat McAfee a match at WrestleMania 38. Apparently those two are intertwined.
Yeah, that's what I'm understanding, is that Vince is going to wrestle Pat. Or the option is there, or they're working on laying this out. But that's supposed to be a match at WrestleMania. Vince McMahon taking on Pat McAfee.
I hope Pat McAfee gives him a Panama Sunrise.
Yeah, so there you go. That's overrated, underrated, with a little bit of news and a little bit of history lesson in there for you. You never know what you're going to get at the KayFabe Smark podcast. And now we're moving on to AEW, their Road to Revolution, their go-home show, the show before the pay-per-view. And, well, Eric, why don't you start us off and see what the hell we got here for this week?
All right, so we are talking about Wednesday night, March 2nd. We start things off with two Tonys in the ring. Tony Schiavone in the ring with Tony Khan. Tony Khan apparently forgot to take his Ritalin, man. He was nervous as all get out, nervous, excited. He seemed like an overexcited 10-year-old about to meet Santa Claus.
Yeah, it was rough. Even at the end of this, Jim Ross goes, well, Tony sure had about 5 cups of coffee today, didn't he? He was all over the place. His eyes were darting around. It was like he did Red Bull and cocaine before he went out in the ring. I don't know what was going on.
Yeah, so we told the whole story earlier in the news, but yeah, Tony Khan just bouncing all over. He looked like John Moxley, just all over the place. And Tony Khan purchased Ring of Honor. He thanked all the fans for supporting AEW during the pandemic and keeping them up and running. and just we'll see what happens with this whole ROH deal.
Yeah, and then they kick off the first show with the kick off the first match of the show with which was a rematch from the first main event of the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which was Bryan Danielson taking on what's his name there? Christopher Daniels.
Yeah, and this I guess I just wasn't interested enough to actually check. So this was a kind of sort of rematch from the first Ring of Honor main event, because that was actually a three-way match that neither one of these guys won.
Yes, they did state that on the show. They said these guys were in the first main event of a Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and neither one of them won. So I didn't understand what that meant, but that makes more sense now.
Yeah, later on in the match, they mentioned it was a three-way or triple threat or whatever, but they didn't mention with who. So I don't know. That's something for our fans to go look up there. And then excrement, man. I hate that guy. And every week he gives me more and more reason, because during this matchup, we'll get into the brass tacks of this match here in a minute. But Excalibur exclaims that this matchup has been weighing on these guys' minds for the past 20 years. So Bryan Danielson and Christopher Daniels, who have been wrestling for over 20 years in different companies all over the world, it's been eating them alive that they need to face each other, because both of them lost in the main event of a Ring of Honor, a small company that didn't mean shit 20 years ago, in the main event.
Their first pay-per-view's main event. So the only people that watched it were the people that were there. They went home and bought the pay-per-view to see if they were on TV. Like, nothing against them. Like, God bless you, put on a show and you did the thing, but you know, it wasn't like the WrestleMania here or something. It was Ring of Honor's first pay-per-view out of a bingo hall. So,
and apparently Bryan Danielson and Christopher Daniels just been obsessing over this. They need to fight each other because they both lost, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Christopher Daniels, a retired wrestler, just can't let it go. He didn't even keep his career going to try and revive this. He's been retired for the last 7 months, 8 months. He hasn't done anything in the wrestling ring. And this will probably be the last thing that he does for a long time again.
So, yeah, I don't know. Excrement, he needs to eat a dick. But this match overall was pretty decent. Christopher Daniels is 51 years old. Bryan Danielson's no spring chicken either. He's also he's in his 40s. And this match had a great mix of pure technical wrestling, but it seemed to keep a good pace too. At one point, the timing was a little off on this one. Oh, poor Bryan Danielson had to wait around a bit so that Christopher Daniels could gather his bearings and do a springboard moonsault to the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson obviously had to be there for him, because we didn't need those 51-year-old bones turning to dust when they hit the ground.
Well, if you remember, several months back now, I say a few, but I go several because it was even longer, is clearly he's been gone for 7 months. So within the last 7 months, he went to go do one of those springboard moonsaults off the ropes and completely missed the top rope, and then just did just a straight up ass drop on the apron of the ring. Like, do you remember that at all?
I do remember that.
Yeah. So, yeah, you definitely want to be there for old CD as he goes up there and does his springboard and tries to get his shit in. It's one of the things that, if you will, made him famous, one of the things that he did that nobody else did, and at least this time he 60% connected. Nobody was hurt. The move looked like shit at the end of the day, but at least nobody was hurt.
Yeah, and then he had to sell it afterwards. I'm 51. Did you see that?
Yes,
and it's like, oh, come on, Grandpa.
You're in good shape. We get it.
We don't need to hear your stories of the Korean War, Gramps. Wrap it up.
Go home.
One good thing about these classic wrestlers, these future Hall of Fame, Christopher Daniels, maybe Ring of Honor Hall of Famer,
Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer.
Yeah, the chops from both of these guys were just solid chops, man. Both of their chests look like hamburger meat, And but yeah, this thing was just a technical dictionary, so to speak, just a technical library, tons of counters, pins and submissions, and counter this to counter that. And um this finally wraps up with Brian Danielson countering the best moonsault ever with a triangle sleeper. Poor Daniels couldn't hold on, passes out, and it's a wrap on this match.
Yeah, overall, it was a good match. I mean, I don't think you can put Bryan Danielson and Christopher Daniels and expect anything terrible. As long as Christopher Daniels stays in his current lane and doesn't try to go in his past lane, if that makes any sense to you, and still gets his little shit in that he can. And then, of course, let's be honest, this whole thing was going. We didn't think Christopher Daniels had a Ice Cube's chance in hell in winning this thing. That would not help the story that we have going on with Bryan Danielson. But then he grabs the microphone and he begins to speak and talk about how they started their match with a handshake for the Code of Honor and Ring of Honor, and they ended their matches with a handshake. And he grabs Christopher Daniels' hand, and then he says, "But I'm not in Ring of Honor, I'm in AEW, and I stomp people's heads in." And he held his hand and stomped his head in to show that true... Is he a heel?
Oh, he's a heel.
He's
100%.
a heel? But the crowd pops for him still. But is that AEW crowd? They don't know. They just want to be a part of the show. Is that more of the deal? He's a heel, but they still want to be a part of the show?
Yeah, it's got to be. He comes out of the heel tunnel. He was going hard after Hangman Page. He's going hard after our rehab hero, John Moxley here. And he stomps everybody's heads in, completely decimated the Dark Order. So, yeah, he's a heel through and through. But this whole handshake thing, the minute he extended his hand to Christopher Daniels and grabbed it, Stevie Wonder saw this one coming, as well as Ray Charles. We knew that head stomp was coming after that.
I was 90%. Obviously, he's going to do his head stomp thing. But they did have the purchase of AEW, of Ring of Honor. So they did have their Code of Honor handshakes before and after. It's a thing in every match, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, maybe they're just going to honor the past and move along and kind of let this go away, and then they didn't. So there was a small chance I thought they might stick with the Ring of Honor story for a moment, but personally I'm glad they didn't. Just stomp his head in and move on, Christopher Daniels.
And move on because Bryan Danielson reiterates the fact in his mind that he will be stomping in John Moxley's head at Revolution. Moxley enters from the parking lot per usual. Mox is a little intense here, Brian. I think him and Tony Khan just shooting espresso right into their veins because old Mox was just pacing and just had the energy of a
caged lion.
A caged lion on Adderall.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a nervous thing with him or if he's trying to be, like, too cool. Like, I don't know what this, like, head bob. Like, if somebody was to keep talking to me, like, be like, yo! Calm down, dude. You got to stand still. I can't focus on you. Like, it's so random in his movements pattern. It's off-putting.
He's just way too over the top. It's almost like, so you know, Steve Williams, not Dr. Death, the other Steve Williams, took his personality and turned it up to 11 to become Stone Cold Steve Austin. Obviously, Moxley is heavily influenced by Stone Cold Steve Austin. He took Stone Cold Steve Austin and turned that knob up to 11.
Sure.
That's our current Mox. He's just like, I'll walk through fire and bullets. This is my path. And
I eat
my
rocks.
First chapter will be written in blood. And it's just like, all right, calm the fuck down, bro.
Bro, we've seen you in the WWE. You pushed a hot dog cart for one match. Like, let's relax, guy. Sure, you've gone to GCW. You did the indie scene pre and post WWE life, but, like, you're just a man. I've seen you play a goofball on your wife's TikTok where you super kicked her and stole toilet paper during the pandemic because you thought it was funny. Like,
Yeah. Just calm the hell down, Mox. It's just way too over the top to believe. Um, it's just he needs to bring it down a couple notches and make it a little more believable.
100%. Where the heck are we going after this? What happened after this?
We're going to a pair who have turned the knob way the hell down. Darby Allin and Sting here deliver a promo that's about as flat as a plate full of piss, and that's a wrap on that back. They didn't say anything significant.
I don't even know if they
It was
said
pretty
anything.
stupid. Yeah, I couldn't tell you one word they said. And now, Brian, speaking of just over the top, way too much going on to pay attention to. We're going into the Casino Tag Team Royale Part 2. Last week, we know Red Dragon, quote unquote, screwed the Young Bucks over to get their place in the three-way tag team match taking place at Revolution. So this is Part 2 here, and we start things off with FTR and the return of Top Flight as a full and complete tag team.
All right. Yeah, this one was different. Last week, they did a battle royal, essentially, where everybody jumped in at the same time. 3, 2, 1, go. Your match is underway. Everybody in the ring. Right? And then this one, they did, like, Royal Rumble style, where they came out
every
slowly.
90 seconds, a new tag team came in.
Sure. It was a little different. So, a little same idea, different twist. Again, is a tag team battle royal. Interesting because you've never seen these before pre-AEW life, so they're different for sure. It's not like, oh, I remember, they've been doing these since I was a kid and watching wrestling. Tag team battle royals are something of new. I think there's a lot to keep focused on. There's a lot of guys, and each guy, not every guy is on their own, so you have teams. It can get a little hairy watching it as a spectator, but that's my thoughts on the match itself.
Yeah, only a couple interesting aspects in here. First, we'll start things off. Out of all the teams participating in this thing, the only two teams worth a wad of spit in this thing are the Young Bucks and FTR.
Sure. So there's the realistic teams of Young Bucks and FTR. Young Bucks, Mark, or not, even you'll admit the Young Bucks can go grab the AEW tag team titles, and you're not terribly mad about the situation.
Correct.
No matter which way you stand on the Young Bucks. FTR, obviously, you're all in with them. But then there was the AEW chances in hell, right? So then you had, there was two there. That was your two there. That was the two realistic, and then the two like, well, this is AEW. So the possibility of Top Flight winning is pretty high. There's a good chance there. Or like even 2.0.
Or the Acclaimed, because they've been number 1 ranked.
That was the other one, and then mine. So those were like the two AEW picks, the two realistic picks, and then a wild card pick for me was Santana and Ortiz. Proud and Powerful.
Yeah, I just didn't see Proud and Powerful quite in that position yet, but they have, especially with Eddie Kingston, have kind of been tickling the idea.
Yeah, so there was just that wild card for me, but there was like and then basically, if there's any spots you want to talk about, but basically we start to come down to about everybody we just mentioned to start to bring this thing home.
Yeah, basically we wait till the ring's full, and then we just start tossing people over left and right. One thing right here that made the dirt sheet headlines here, the Acclaimed coming out, and Max Caster talking about, I don't know if he was talking about FTR or Top Flight at this point, but says that they're less popular than Glenn Jacobs' tweets because Glenn Jacob, super conservative mayor of Knoxville County or Knox County, put out basically a pro-Putin tweet, and everyone went bananas over it.
Oh,
so yeah, Max Caster, referring to Kane's tweets here, ruffled some feathers in the industry there for a quick second. But other than that, this was just people throwing each other over the top ropes and nothing significant happening except for Red Dragon coming out, helping eliminate FTR and essentially patching up things with the Young Bucks. And the Young Bucks end up winning this thing when they eliminate the other Martin of Top Flight for the win. I don't remember Dante's brother's name.
The other guy. I think it would have worked better for story-wise. They can still do something with what they have. But if Red Dragon came out to, quote, help the Young Bucks eliminate FTR, but it backfires and it eliminates the Young Bucks again and the FTR wins, not because I'm a FTR mark. I do enjoy their work. I think they're, whatever. But it just seems like the idea of where you can go with FTR, the Young Bucks and Red Dragon, then you put Red Dragon over, you give them the straps for a minute. Now FTR's mad that they lost. Young Bucks are mad they lost. You screwed them. You're in. You're our friends. It seems like there's a lot more you could twist and turn with. But there's still something they can do here because that same thing can still kind of happen in the match itself. It just takes out long-term storytelling.
Yeah, I think the dynamic between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks is going to be great at this pay-per-view. I personally think with those two tag teams involved in this match, there's no way in hell Jurassic Express should walk out of there holding those belts still. But they are homebrewed AEW talent, and they've only had those belts for a little bit. Tony Khan seems to mark out for those guys. He loves his character wrestlers. So, unfortunately, my prediction for this three-way tag team match is that Jurassic Express is going to still walk out with those damn belts.
Yeah, because you're going to see Red Dragon and Young Bucks implode on each other, which is going to take two teams out with one, and then, Jurassic Express is going to get the 1, 2, 3. That's my guess as well going forward with this. So we shall see in just a few days on what happens with that.
Yes, we shall. And we go backstage to Chris Jericho cutting a promo on Eddie Kingston here, and just more shitting on Kingston for being a loser. And Jericho looking like he's in great shape, man. He's been hitting the gym. He got sick a couple times, caught COVID about 38 times, got sick over in the UK while he was on tour with Ozzy, and looks like he got his shit together, man. Cut that gut. His double chins have trimmed down, and cut a promo on Eddie. And then was this the point where Proud and Powerful came back and just kind of gave him knucks?
Yeah, just said, we're good, and just said, yeah, sorry about all that.
So, yeah, we'll see if they just kind of sweep that whole thing under the rug. That dynamic was awesome. Yeah. I loved the tension between Proud and Powerful and Chris Jericho. So, hopefully, this is just a clever ruse, and that feud keeps going.
Well, as we're speaking about these matches and breaking down what we think might happen at Revolution, what's your call on Jericho and Eddie Kingston?
I think this match is going to be a letdown, Brian, because Eddie Kingston, not exactly the smoothest worker in the ring. And Chris Jericho, even though he's lost some weight and he's gotten better shape, he's been pretty rough in the ring. Who knows if his cardio's back up to shape? And then it just goes on to, I don't really care who wins and who loses in this thing. So I don't know. I think it's a little bit overhyped, and I think it's the result, no matter what it is gonna be like, all right, moving on. What's next?
Yeah, Eddie is able to hide his lack of technical wrestling by mic work and brutality, if you will.
Fighting, Moxley style.
Brawling. He can hide that. Jericho can actually wrestle professional wrestling. He's not, running a clinic on you here, but he's a professional wrestler. But can he match the brawling? So do we have two polar opposite sides of wrestling? Are they going to be able to complement each other's other side is the question. And, again, Jericho doesn't need the win, so a little rub from Jericho on Eddie Kingston isn't going to tarnish anything. It can help an Eddie Kingston make a few more bucks as he moves on with his life.
Yeah, But I just think Jericho's stock is kind of dwindling at this point in AEW. So what does a win over Jericho really get you these days?
That and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee.
Yeah, pretty much. So it just doesn't look like either one of them have anything to gain from this. What we ended up, I think we ended up saying, you know who would be great in a feud? Because Jericho's a master on the microphone, Eddie Kingston's a master on the microphone. It would be great to see them feuding. Oh yeah, but they're both kind of lacking in the ring skills department there nowadays. So I don't know how we're gonna pull this thing together, but let's just wing it, guys.
Or we're going to get Proud and Powerful completely turning on Jericho in this and siding with Eddie Kingston, and that's just a whole big ruse for an old school turn on, and a new faction, if you will, is born.
Yeah, that would be exciting. So that's what I would pray for this match here. Any other thoughts on the Jericho Kingston thing?
No, I'm pretty good with that. I think, it's going to happen either way. I'm with you. It's like a 50-50. If Jericho wins, I go, okay. If Eddie Kingston wins, you go, okay.
Yeah. We move on to the most interesting segment of this week's episode here. CM Punk coming out in a fresh and crispy white tee.
At the whitest.
That was the whitest tee I've ever seen. I've purchased Hanes. I've purchased Fruit of the Loom. I've purchased
Bat.
what's that company that's Champ Sports Gear white tees? I've had them all. I've had Hanes beefy tees. I've never seen a t-shirt as crispy and white as CM Punk's right here.
And CM Punk always wears white. I mean, he
Always. I've never seen him in any other color.
and he begins to speak about and cut a promo and talking about MJF and how is CM Punk the bad guy? Is MJF really right? Blah blah blah. He has a picture of Stone Cold Steve Austin from when he was a kid, and he didn't turn on Stone Cold when everybody said Stone Cold packed his bags and went home, and blah blah blah. And who comes out to join the promo?
None other than MJF. Sans Music, Brian, coming out to silence.
Sans Music, but all of the white clothes.
Yes. And the foreshadowing with the pure white in the ring. It's hard to say foreshadowing because with all that white in the ring, you couldn't see a shadow. So you got the foreshadowing. They're wearing all white. Punk is planting it in our heads that maybe, just maybe, MJF is gaslighting all of us on this one because hurt people, Brian, hurt people.
Right.
Little play on words there.
Get it?
And a little adjective and verb action on the word hurt. Punk, just being a kind, gentler, older Punk, a guidance counselor, if you will, telling MJF to let go of all the hate. This is a gentle Punk we're seeing in the ring right now, Brian.
Gentle Punk. He's like Gentle Ben in there. He's here. He's here for MJF. He's warming. He's gonna give you a hug, and they hug it out right in the middle of the ring.
Yes, they do. CM Punk extends his hand to shake MJF's hand. Since he denied him that privilege when they first met, MJF embraces CM Punk and they hug. Punk hugs him back. And then the double cross, Brian. What happens next? MJF squares up and kicks CM Punk right in the family jewels.
Right in the old dick. And then who comes out to play? Well, it's none other than Wardlow, FTR, and Shawn Spears.
Oh, yeah, and you know shit's about to hit the fan right here, Brian, because Wardlow hands MJF that ring, and we get some ground and pound on CM Punk's face here, and he gets busted open the hard way, as we could see by the Easter egg on his fucking forehead.
Yeah.
That thing was spewing blood, spewing.
He got gigged pretty good, and then they get him on the outside of the ring. There's blood. The timekeeper out there is clanging the bell, being terribly annoying. There was nothing more annoying. even as a child, I was like, quit ringing the bell. A grown man with a chair isn't going to listen to a bell. Oh, the bell's ringing. I should stop murdering this man. Stop with the bell. So MJF goes and grabs a bell and throws that bitch across the room.
Yeah, my only thoughts is maybe the bell is to summon security, which
Okay.
FTR
We're beating
goes
up.
ahead and yeah, FTR goes ahead and dismisses security by throwing them all over the place. And then our boy Wardlow wasn't the only one to bring a gift to the ring with the diamond ring. Our boy Sean Spears also brought a gift to the ring, and that ring was a dog collar on a 20-foot chain, Brian.
Yeah, brings down the dog collar. They wrap it over the top rope. They put that sumbitch around CM Punk's neck and essentially hang the poor man as they are pummeling him and beating him and wiping blood all over his white shirt, and it is running and bleeding everywhere.
Punk's face is equivalent to Cactus Jack's face when he faced Terry Funk in the Tokyo Dome or wherever the hell they were at when they were in that death match.
Sure, that was a good one. There's the old Stone Cold. This was way bloodier than that, actually, but Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Crimson Mask with the sharpshooter when he became, when they put Stone Cold on the map when he went and tap and all that jazz. So there was that moment, too. They matched some pretty good bloody faces in the faces of history here.
Yeah, and I don't know if Punk also bladed himself. There was a clear knot on his forehead. Saw Massacre-esque.
Yeah. It's a good thing that CM
and
Punk is straight edge and wasn't drunk, because if he went out there and had a few drinks before he went out, he might be not with us anymore.
It would have looked like a Gallagher show. You would have had to give the front row a fucking sheet of plastic to cover themselves.
It's like Guar.
Oh, man. Like Rammstein in 1998, just spraying the whole crowd. MJF proceeds to cut in just absolute evil promo, saying that he is the devil himself. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist, and MJF is one evil bastard. And after that about wraps up, we need a reason for for MJF and his squad to leave. So send out Darby, Sting, and Sammy. So the two skinniest guys we can find in the company and the oldest is going to come out and scare off the entire Pinnacle squad.
Yeah, and when somebody comes out that late, like, how mad were you? How big is Daly's place? Like, where do they keep you? In fucking Valdosta, Georgia, and you had to drive down to Jacksonville? Like, what was the delay on getting there?
Well, the promo action had to happen, Brian.
Yeah,
the promo had to happen.
MJF hadn't cut the promo, and we haven't hit the cue yet.
Yeah. So yeah, Darby, Sting, and Sammy chase off the heels, and it's a wrap on that. Punk shirt, man.
Yeah.
Punk shirt, MJF shirt, works of art right there. I'd love to see what those go for on eBay.
Picasso.
I like it.
I like it. So yeah, 20 security guards could not break this up, but a child, 2 children, and an elderly man slowed him down, though.
2 children and bad grandpa come down and just clear the whole fucking ring.
But it is what it is. So yeah, that was a wrap on that, and that was just really to plug those 3 idiots that they have a triple threat match with. Is it FTR and Sean Spears? Is that the gimmick that's going on there?
I think so. I don't even remember.
They're fighting. Those 3 are fighting somebody. Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy are teamed up, and they're fighting another 3 guys. Some 3-way tornado thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and then we shoot back to the backstage area here, and just a reminder of a match that we're all pretty interested in. See, I don't care who you are. We see another face-off between Keith Lee and Willie Hobbs. And how the hell, Brian, can you make Willie Hobbs look like a small child? You put Keith Lee's big ass right next to him, man. Keith Lee is absolutely humongous.
Yes. They did a good job, I think, with this Casino Battle Royal. or whatever it is, casino ladder match. You've got Keith Lee, you've got Wardlow, you've got the other guy that you just said that I'm drawing a brain fart on his name now, Willie Hobbs. And then I think you have Dante Martin, if I'm not wrong, and there was one more, I believe. And I can't remember who it is now. Do you remember?
I can't remember right now.
But they loaded it up pretty good. My apologies about that. Yeah, they loaded it up pretty good for what it is in this casino battle royal match or casino ladder match. I'm going to look it up while we're talking here. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, but the main two people that I just want to see these two monsters collide. I'm kind of disappointed that it's going to be in a ladder match with a whole bunch of other people surrounded by it. I wish this thing could have been one-on-one, but who knows? This may lead to a feud between these two guys. And Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks is fantastic. He knows how to talk. He's a natural, even though he's a great performer in the ring, he's a natural manager, a natural promoter. And
sorry.
He just keeps churning the interest here.
All right. So your Face of the Revolution ladder match. You have Powerhouse, Willie Hobbs. You have Ricky Starks. You have Wardlow. You have Keith Lee. We're coming down now. And then now you have Ethan Page and Christian Cage, and then you also have Orange Cassidy. So they do really good. It's a way better stacked match. But if Orange Cassidy, Ethan Page, or Christian's old ass win this thing, it's just a wrap. Like, I'll let Ricky get away with it, even though he should not be able to win over these other guys, unless he screws over his buddy. But the size-wise, those first three are just monsters, right? I see.
Oh, absolutely.
My call on this one is, this is a tough one for me, but I'm going to go with Wardlow. He's on fire.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to have to agree with you on that, which is super exciting. But I think having Wardlow kind of, what's the prize of this one? Is it
it's that
TNT championship match?
Yeah, TNT championship match.
So you have Wardlow take that off the table, and then we are left with Keith Lee and Willie Hobbs. Something to feud over. One of them might have screwed the other one over and made him lose the match or something to that effect. We might actually get this rivalry that we want to see.
Sure. So they did a way better. A lot of times these are just over, like, guys that should never be even in a match to possibly win this, but this is for that TNT championship match. So really they could throw this on anybody and you'd go, all right, whatever, because I thought it was for the world championship at first, so at least you got that. Keith Lee is a hot new face in AEW, so I would say I'm leaning Keith Lee or Wardlow, but let's continue on.
We continue on to a tag team match, Brian, a women's tag team match. At that, we have Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter taking on Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez, and that's about that.
Yeah, the whole thing about this match, I think, was the ending that surprised me a lot, is that Britt took the 1, 2, 3 she laid on the ground while Thunder Rosa got the W. And you're going,
smack
wow.
dab in the middle of the ring.
Clean as can be.
Clean as a thistle.
Yeah, so you're going, usually you go, well, they're not going to put the champion is not going to do the job, even in a tag match. Their team can lose, but, nope. Britt laid down, Thunder Rosa got the dub, so it just throws you off and draws me in to wanting to see who's going to win that match.
Yeah, it was exciting seeing the return of Jamie Hayter because she did a complete transformation. She kind of went from like a chick you would see selling compact discs at the flea market to kind of coming out and having some star power there. But that whole shine has rubbed off of her. So nobody gives a shit about Jamie Hayter. Nobody really gives a shit about Mercedes Martinez. So yeah, we just want to see Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. So seeing Thunder Rosa get the 1-2-3 on Britt Baker just kind of ignites that fire a little bit. And let's go ahead and clear these other idiots out of it and let the real meat and potatoes go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. Simple as that. All right. And then we're coming down to, I believe, our main event already, aren't we? Unless we got a backstage segment, because you know I love skipping those sons of bitches.
Oh, no, we got a hot backstage segment right here, Brian. You know who's great at speaking English on the mic when she's ready to cut a promo and go after that TBS championship, Brian? Tay Conti is a master on the microphone right here. And I don't even think she got 2 words in. We had Alex Marvez doing all the talking for her. And Jade Cargill makes her entrance. And she says,
nobody's interested.
She calls Tay Conti a bitch to her face, which is great. And then she says, and I quote, "Nobody cares about that karate shit." I love it. This was the best Jade Cargill promo.
When she said the karate shit, it made me laugh.
That felt like a real Jade Cargill. That didn't feel like the scripted wrestler Jade Cargill.
I don't know. What do you do? Karate or something? It's Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Who gives a shit about that? Yeah.
What do you wear? Your pajamas? What do you? You gonna wear those out to the ring?
Got a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but nobody cares about that karate shit.
Just completely
that bitch.
Downgrades it. And then they said, and then Smart Mark Sterling jumps in and says, if you touch her, the match is off. Even if you touch one green hair on her head.
Yes. And thank God for colorblind people like me. I couldn't tell if her hair was green or blue. So thank you, Smart Mark, for clearing that up for me.
It's a rough in between. And yeah, there you go. You're gonna get those two those two are fighting. Jade Cargill, Tay Conti at the pay-per-view this weekend.
And you wish we were at the main event, Brian, but we've got 3 more segments before we get to the main event, my man.
Yeah, but these all backstage shit, ain't it?
No, one of them's a match.
Oh, was it?
One
God
of them's
damn.
a top level match here, if that. But first, we got to do some pre-tapes. We got to hype up this confrontation going on between legit Layla Hirsch and Chris Statlander.
Oh, yeah.
And Chris Statlander still claims she's an alien, but she seems to have dropped the whole alien gimmick here, and she's throwing shade at Layla Hirsch, saying that she deserved to be put up for adoption.
Let's be honest about this match here. Chris Statlander's like 6'2". Like she's a big.
Layla Hirsch is 4'10", maybe.
Yeah, like there's no chance. In reality, like I don't care if Layla Hirsch is like an all-American wrestler or whatever. There was weight classes. That's why you're good in your weight class.
Right.
So it's a big difference here, and it just is. Layla Hirsch is boring to me, and I'll be honest with you, Chris Statlander is boring to me, and that's probably why, according to Wikipedia, the card that I'm looking at here, these knuckleheads are on the pre-show.
That makes sense. Well, anyway, we get into our next match with 2 absolute behemoths, Brian, and I thought we were actually getting a match out of this thing. I thought, okay, they're done with Wardlow just squashing everybody in his path, because he keeps going up against guys the size of what's that librarian guy? That pretty much seems to be the level of all Wardlow's opponents lately. Peter Avalon. But this time we got the return to main television, a return to Wednesday night. We got Cesar Bologna, and he's absolutely huge.
He is.
So I was kind of nodding my head. All right, we're going to get a legit match here. Nope.
Squashville.
Wardlow immediately takes this 6'6", 300-pound monster and power bombs him 3 times, and it's a wrap for Cesar Bologna here.
Yeah.
He gets the 1-2-3 with a foot on his chest. We get Shawn Spears winding up the chair. He's going to give some chair shots to old Caesar here, and Wardlow stops him.
Yeah. I thought that at least I thought the same thing as you. I was like, well, they might kind of start to build matches now with putting big guys in there. But I guess at least if they squash him, it shows that he can squash big guys too. If that makes any, if there's any plus to it, you can build onto that. Like, hey, I don't just crush, Orange Cassidy's and Frankie Avalon. I'm out there wrestling everybody. Big guys too, like Caesar Baloney Tits.
So yeah, that did, I guess it adds a little more legitimacy to Wardlow's squashes here, but either way, it didn't really mean anything. And then we get a House of Black pre-tape, and this thing is just overproduced. This whole House of Black put together with Buddy Murphy and the other Brody King, and then Malachi Black here. This thing looks like it was put together in a studio and had everyone and their mother working on it. It just kind of goofy, man.
For 3 mid-carders.
Precisely.
They haven't attempted to even remotely put anybody over. Dickhead comes in here. He's a big to-do, and he goes after Cody Rhodes, right? Malachi Black. He goes after Cody and the Nightmare family and murders them all, kicks everybody's head off their shoulders, and that was it.
Yeah,
and that was
then
it.
He's messing with the cheerleader from the Varsity Blondes,
and but then just can't win a mid card, can't win a tag team championship. Nothing. They even had Malachi teasing at the end when Jurassic Express won the tag team champions and all the championships and all the tag teams came out. Malachi was one of the guys out there representing the House of Black. They weren't in neither one of the Battle Royals.
Yeah, so who knows? That's just something. It's just one of those AEW things where they kind of forgot they existed.
They forgot they said that. Now they're doing something else. I just follow the dopamine.
And then we shoot backstage. We get a little dust up between MJF and Wardlow here. MJF, kind of proud of Wardlow for standing up for himself against Shawn Spears here, says if he wins that ladder match, he can keep, or if he wins the ladder match and then wins the TNT championship, he can keep it. MJF's not even going to take it out of his hands. That's if Wardlow can even win it. Wardlow says that's because I'm too busy making sure you win. And MJF, man, throwing potatoes all night here, throws a fucking open hand slap to Wardlow's face that should have knocked his teeth out, man. He laid into it.
He did. But, that's one of those things, though. If you don't hit a dude like Wardlow, even working, I'm not talking shooting on him. I'm talking working. It's not going to look real at all. Like, it has to be real or it's not real. You can't undersell it. MJF hitting me, he could undersell it. I'm going to fall down anyways, right? He's going to hit me at 30%. I'm gonna be like, that hurt. But, like, you got a big monster like that, like, you can't pull back, and Wardlow has to know that and probably has taken a few more of those than he's ever wanted to because he is that guy, and it has to look real on the big fellas. So, there you go. And it made sense, and it worked, and you've just been seeing this. This has been the longest form of storytelling AEW has ever done with the split between these two knuckleheads.
Yeah, these two have been having that tension and teasing that breakup for damn near 2 years here.
Yeah, so it's been good, and now, actually Wardlow has a wrestling, quote, career, and he has a record, and he comes out, and he's getting over with the fans, and as soon as he can start to kill, like, real wrestlers, I'll probably cheer for him, too. He's a big giant, it's the freak show that you want to watch. It's the oddity. They're like, look at this big man that'll come out and powerbomb everybody. I loved Kevin Nash, and he had 4 moves, and one of them was flipping his hair back.
But who knows, Brian, because Wardlow doesn't work for AEW, according to MJF. Wardlow works solely for him.
Right.
So without MJF on his side, Wardlow and his family are out on the streets. Tony Khan ain't got nothing to do with it.
Nope, and he would never sign him either. Even if there was a contract where he brought your own people in and let him do things, he'd be like, you don't work for me. And Tony Khan will go, well, I was never interested in you anyways, my sir. So feel free to go to WWE and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, so that whole thing, just that one little phrase kind of poo-pooed on it for me. MJF saying you don't even work for AEW. But it's a wrap on that segment, and we move right on to our main event. Brian, we have got a 6-man tag match here. We've got Red Dragon,
Adam Cole.
Shit. I know Adam Cole. I know Kyle O'Reilly. And what is Bobby Fish?
There you go. Fish food.
Oh, man. Can't believe I drew a blank on Bobby Fish. I like him. And they will be taking on Adam Page, Johnny Hungy. You don't have your finger on the button today.
Oh.
And then old Alex Reynolds.
Yeah, you caught me. Oh, and my sound bite's dead. It gave me a big yellow triangle error. I don't know what happened. Johnny Hungy.
Well, he went by John Silver for this match, so maybe your computer is in on the gig there.
Oh, yeah.
And this match was
terrible.
Just kind of happened. I think the point of this match was for the afterbirth.
100%. This didn't make any sense to me to start with. So the only thing that made sense is we have Adam Page taking on Adam Cole at the pay-per-view. So You don't want those two to fight on a free TV. You want to tease it out as much as possible. So sometimes you get the weird tag teams, triple tag team, something where they're kind of going to fight but not really type matches, or you just get the big overdone promo where they put carpet in the ring. One of those promos. They tease the match. Well, we're getting a weird fight. But when they do that, they usually pair your opponents up with, or your teammates and your opponents are opposite opposing teams as well, right? So you might have Red Dragon then taking on, say, the tag team champions. Or you may have Red Dragon taking on, might be across the team from FTR. But something that would make sense. Some conflict.
We've got tension between our two superstars here, being Adam Cole and Adam Page. But yeah, Red Dragon and Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds, they've had virtually no interaction, if any at all. So why are they fighting each other?
Where are we at with this? Why is it there? They're just there because they're friends with Adam Page. That's why. And that's really what this match was. It was just a tease Adam Page in the ring. It was a tease Adam Cole in the ring. It was a tease them kind of both in the ring, but being quick on tags and in and out. And then, like you said, it just led you to the finish. It was Adam Page gets his move in, 1, 2, 3, and then it's the afterbirth.
Adam Cole got the pin, didn't he?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I said it backwards. I get my Adams all confused.
Yeah, Adam Cole ends up getting the pin on this one, and then it's time to solidify Adam Cole's bad guy image right here, because they go in on our cowboy shit, Adam Page.
Yeah, they come in, and the Red Dragon gets out the duct tape, and they're beating them up, and then the, blah, 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 gets duct taped to the ropes, and then that's when the fun ensues. But nobody ever really comes out to help Adam Page again.
Was the timekeeper ringing the bell? Because if she wasn't ringing the bell, then nobody really has to come out and help.
Right, I think that was the problem. MJF threw it a couple segments ago, and they didn't go get it, so...
Some lucky fan in the front row, after he got treated for his concussion, got to take the bell home with him.
Simple as that. But that's just what I thought. It was just a show off. Like, these guys are just going to stand out there and get murdered. John Silver climbs in the ring. Johnny Hungy climbs in the ring. Blah, blah, blah. But nothing really. You just can see that this is just how it's going to go off of TV, of them getting beat up.
Yeah.
Of the bad guys winning.
And then we get pretty much a partying image. We've got Adam Page duct taped to the ropes, almost crucified, if you will. And then Adam Cole taunting him, saying that the AEW championship belt belongs to him being Adam Cole, laying it on Adam Page's shoulder. And we kind of part from there as the belt falls off Page's shoulder, and he's just kind of left there helpless, close up on Adam Cole's face. And JR signs us off. It's a wrap for Wednesday night.
Yeah, it was an old school finish where, by that I mean old school for us, 90s, 2000s. It was DX, it was NWO, it was the Ministry of Darkness taking over Monday Night Raw, taking over WCW Monday Nitro. Complete mayhem ensues, and we got to go. That's our time. You know, they go off the air. Like, you see what happens on Thursday or, Friday. But AEW is so dumb that they just don't even plug Rampage. We'll see you Sunday.
Yeah. It's because Rampage is on a different channel, Brian. You can't plug the competitor.
Yeah, right. It's on a different channel owned by the same company. And they were live this week.
Yeah. And Rampage is going to be live.
That's what I'm saying. Rampage is going to be live, so they're going off the air, and that's like this is the flagship show. Let's, not tease that Rampage is closer to the weekend, so that's the go-home show. This was the go-home show for the pay-per-view. If you're getting anybody to buy it, it's from this. Anybody who's watching Rampage is already going to buy it. Right? That's your inner circle stuff. So, but still, they weren't like, check it out on Rampage. See what happens after our cameras shut off. We got to go to Silk Stockings. So they just were like, well, that's it. See you on Sunday. And just signed off. It was kind of a flat ending, even in the sign off of the commentators.
Yeah. Just kind of ended flat. And, yeah.
Didn't understand the main event.
What's happening tonight? Right now, the show's Rampage is already wrapping up. To break down the fourth wall here, it's 10:50.
10:55?
10:55 here in Michigan. So, yeah, who knows? While we were chit-chatting about this, maybe something major happened, but they didn't even tell us to watch it. So who gives a shit?
So exactly. It was just very random. The main event felt flat. I would have rather saw a carpeted promo segment where they just got into a brawl, and the same thing happened. You say this, Hangman says this, Adam Cole says that, Red Dragon jumps from behind, duct tapes him up, a couple super kicks to the face, a taunt, and off the air they go, and skip the whole rigmarole of a half-ass shitty match in between. So that was AEW's Dynamite. Real quick, before we sign this thing off, let's hit down. We did a couple of these as we were going, but not all of the matches lined up with the card for Sunday. So let's just start at the top here. We're even going to hit the pre-shows, Eric, so we're going to have to, even if we don't watch it, look it up and see what's going to happen. But what do you got? Hook versus QT Marshall.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I might have to tune in and see that. I want to see Hook in action, man. That kid's got it.
Sure. Obviously, I say Hook is going to win that one.
Right.
Layla Hirsch or Chris Statlander?
I'm taking Statlander on this one. Tony Khan loves the best friends.
Yeah, Statlander. Layla Hirsch is lackluster at best. Jade Cargill, take on Jade Cargill. She's not time to lose yet.
Cargill.
It doesn't matter to me. AHFO, Andrade El Idolo, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy taking on Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara. That's who they're fighting. So why they came out to rescue CM Punk is beyond me.
I'm saying the baby faces are taking this one, but that's in the who gives a shit category for me.
Yeah, I could flip a coin, but I'll say I got to pick one. Darby Allin and Sting. I don't know. I'll go with the AHFO. All right, Jurassic Express taking on Red Dragon, taking on the Young Bucks. We already talked about this one. We're both saying Jurassic Express, probably going with the W.
Yep.
John Moxley, Bryan Danielson.
Danielson just took an L, but Moxley just came back from rehab. So this one's a tough one.
And they're really pushing Danielson to be a badass. But they want him if they want this team thing to work, Bryan Danielson, Moxley says they got to bleed together before they work together. So, I don't know. I see Moxley winning. He's the fucking golden goose of that company.
He is, but I think Danielson, he took an L way too recently.
Sure.
I don't think they're going to deal him with another one.
All right. Jericho, Eddie Kingston. We both said that's a 50-50 split, but I'll just say Eddie because I got to pick one.
Yeah, and I'll agree with you on that one. Babyface taking this
All
one.
right, we talked about the fear or the faces of Revolution ladder match. We're both kind of leaning heavily towards Wardlow, and so we'll move on with that. Britt Baker taking on Thunder Rosa.
I think they're passing the torch here. I think Thunder Rosa's taking the belt.
I have a feeling of that as well. So I would love to argue with you about it, but I think we're leaning that way as well. CM Punk MJF.
Oof. I think CM Punk, he's really been in the mood to put people over. And so I think he's putting MJF over on this one.
I have that same feeling as well. Adam Page and Adam Cole.
They can't. Adam Page is Tony Khan's boy. Tony Khan loves him some cowboy shit. They're not peeling that belt off of him yet. It's way too early.
I just want to say Adam Cole because that's the way I'd want to see it go. And for some reason down here we don't have it has this match last. House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, taking on the Death Triangle, Pac, Penta, and Pac and Penta. That's it.
Yeah, I guess so because
Three versus
Felix still has a dislocated
okay,
elbow, right?
I read it all fast. Then I was confused. I'm like, it says 6-man tag, but I only got that Eric Redbeard.
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't see that at the bottom here. Is that why wasn't he on the show then?
He's not signed, I don't think.
But he's gonna be at the pay-per-view. So they didn't even bring him in.
They always do dumb shit like that.
Oh God! I hope House of Black wins just so that guy. I hope Redbeard takes the the loss, the L, and has to lay down just because he's an idiot.
Good, me too.
All right, well there you go. That's the AEW Revolution quick picks. We ran through those. Let us know what everybody else thinks. You can pop onto the social media. Make sure you check us out. YouTube, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Hit us up on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. And Eric Todd, that's what I got for you. What do you got for me?
Well, that about wraps it up for us, Brian. So for you, Brian, for the resident snooze and pitbull Stella Marie, and for myself, I've got nothing else to say but hooty hoo. We out the gates.